Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 6, episode 18. I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, and downloading. It's been a great season so far. I want to appreciate everybody for downloading and all the feedback and love. The true crime episode did really well, my two-parter that came out here recently. So, very excited about that to do some history on Louisville. I have a very special guest. She is back. She has been on a couple times in the past, and we ran into each other at the zoo where I'm working now and got to see her. And always a great guest, always filled with knowledge, and definitely feel like this episode will just be me kind of sitting back and hearing kind of what the update is on her stores, but also with hemp in Kentucky. So my special guest is Dee Dee Taylor. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I am doing wonderful. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you always taking the time to do this. And like I said, you're always filled with great knowledge. So let's first start off by talking about the stores. So, what's the updates on 502 Hemp, A12 Hemp, just in general, your business?
Well, I mean, just in general, we are growing, which is wonderful. I have such an amazing team. So they let me be great and they take care of the customers really well. Most of our staff right now are working on their cannabis certificates. So they will be certified cannabis consultants. I have two on staff, and then a third is working on hers. And I've got a couple others working on that as well. So that's kind of cool, getting more education. So they can then in return help people. So that's kind of what we've been working on here, other than expanding our D's line as well. So D's D8 and then D's D9 are all cannabis based products because hemp and marijuana is the same plant, y'all. It's cannabis plant. And I've just really been working on that, trying to get them approved through the cabinet, which they are. All of my gummies are finally approved, and I can talk about more about that too. But we were one of the first gummies to be approved by the cabinet. So I'm very happy about that and very proud of that. It's a very rigorous ordeal to get your things approved by the cabinet. And technically in Kentucky, we are only allowed to sell approved products at this time. Now, they are not enforcing things as much because it's taken a lot of time to get that stuff approved. But that was a result from the legislation that I worked for, House Bill 544, that passed in 23. So everything's just kind of been moving and going towards that route where, certain restrictions are in place so we can still keep selling these products, which I'm fine with, some of those regulations instead of banning or not being able to sell these products. That was the one big thing I worked on.
Well, the
And
approval process, does that mean they come to the store and do it there, or do they contact?
uh-huh.
How's that set up?
Well, so you have to be a registered retailer with the cabinet, and that is a $2,000 fee just to be able to sell any type of CBD or hemp products. So you need to be registered with the cabinet. Then once you are registered, you are only, well, even when you're if you're not registered, technically you're only supposed to be selling approved products that are on the cabinet's list. So if you're not selling those, you could get in trouble later with the cabinet, whether it is through fines or they confiscate your product. But that is coming. Enforcement's coming. They did come to my shop and they did a walkthrough because I also distribute products kind of. I mean, I don't do a lot of distribution or wholesale, but they came to my shop to make sure that that was all on the up and up. So I have been inspected, I guess you could call it. But it's coming, it's happening. I know a lot of people out there in this industry are selling THCA flower. I cannot stress this enough. It is a felony to sell flower in this state. It doesn't matter that it's hemp flower. It doesn't matter that it's CBD flower. It does not matter if it's THCA flower because that's what's being sold everywhere. It's a felony. And there are a lot of people that are selling it, and I won't, but there's a lot of people that's been getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to warn other retailers, you guys need to get rid of it because they really are cracking down on that. And it's a shame. I mean, we're trying. that's been in place since like 2016, 2017, and it sucks.
Mm,
Because I know I've lost a lot of customers. Now, Indiana, I can sell it over there. It's a much more gray market, at least for now. I
yeah.
don't know if that's going to stay forever, but we do have flower sales in Indiana and people love it, but I don't think I'll be able to keep that forever over there either.
So there's customers that pretty much just that you would say in both states just want flower and are looking for that.
Hmm.
And that okay.
Hmm.
And so do you feel like with the flower ban being here, just like talking about 502 area, do you feel like your products what do you feel like's been selling the most of since you know you only sell exclusive legal products? What do you think's been selling the best?
Definitely edibles.
Edible.
Edibles sell the best here. Yeah. And we do have some vapes that people love too. And that the vape ban did not affect the hemp and Delta 8 products. So none of the cannabis products, thank goodness. Most people think that it did, but it did not. There was a new bill that passed this year that reworded that so it wouldn't be all across the board. It was only meant to be for tobacco and nicotine. So but yeah, vapes sell very well. But no, mostly edibles. We sell edibles like you would not believe. Would not believe. I just got a 30, I literally, my brand new item that I haven't even really released yet is my 30 milligram. It's called Triple Treat,
Okay.
not Triple Threat. Could be a triple threat if you eat the whole thing and you're not used to the milligrams, but 30 milligrams is that's a lot.
Hmm.
That's a lot. Now, for an experienced user like yourself,
Yeah.
I'm sure you will be like, that's just good for me. I mean,
Oh
my
yeah.
husband could probably eat two of them, three of them, and he'd be fine.
Hmm.
I would be on the floor.
Yeah.
I would be on the floor. My max is like 5 to 10 milligrams, and I am golden right there.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
you would think it'd be higher with me owning this store, but it's not.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, I've taken some edibles in the past where I'm like, oh, I'm great. I feel amazing. Like one of my favorite
Mhm.
hobbies is to go to different zoos and take some edibles before. But I've had sometimes where I've taken edibles and I'm like, wow, like I listen to music, I feel like I'm at an orchestra. You know, it's just like I'm all over the place, or I'm just completely zoned out. So there's always
Hmm.
different effects and feels that you get out of it. But that's cool that edibles are so popular. Um, do you find that you're still getting a lot of patients that are dealing with illnesses that a lot of
Oh, for
products are
sure.
changing their life and helping them?
Yes, yes, for sure. I mean, we still help a lot of people with cancer. We still help people with autism. Even like adults with autism. We had a gentleman come in the other day and he brought his son, and his son's probably in his 30s, and his dad, is much, much older. And he was the sweetest, and I'm still going to call him a kid because he's younger than me. It's the sweetest kid. And he was in there flirting with Danielle, one of our sales team members. She's a cutie, by the way. But he was in there flirting with her, but you could tell he was autistic. And his dad said that our THCV is in Victor. So that they have helped him immensely. He said that what it does is it keeps him from getting so the anger.
Yeah,
So it's completely alleviated the anger issues with him. And that's THCV is in Victor. So it's not nearly as psychoactive as like regular THC is. It's an analog of it. So it's been that has helped people with ADD, ADHD, people that use Adderall instead, they're taking those. So that's really been huge. We've just found out some new research that it may even help with weight loss. I haven't tried it myself. I'm the old fashioned type trying to lose weight. So, but everybody says it gives you that focus. So we have on a lot of my gummies instead of terpenes because I cannot stand the taste of terpenes. They are disgusting. I'm much more about flavor. If I'm going
yeah.
to eat something, I want it to taste good.
Mm,
So a lot of my creations, they are not based terpene based. So when people ask for an indica or they ask for a sativa, really what we do is we do it by cannabinoids. So our sativa type cannabinoid is our delta 9 with the THCV. That's going to still give you that psychoactive effect, but it's going to keep you a little bit more focused. So much more like a sativa type gummy would. And then for like our indica gummy, we have what's called as ganja great. That's one of the biggest sellers. It is great for sleep. But see, it has Delta 9, THC, 15 milligrams, and then 10 milligrams of CBN. And CBN is that cannabinoid that supposedly Delta 9 THC turns into once it gets old. But they're calling it the sleepy cannabinoid, and it really does seem to help people sleep. And you get that THC, so you get that pain relief. So you get the best of both worlds with that one. But that's more of our indica gummy. And then we just have like straight hybrids that are just plain old Delta 9 THCs, but all of my stuff actually tastes good.
That's
So it's
awesome.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard though when people are like, only eat a half, but it tastes really good. So that's the only big complaint I think is that they taste too good, so people want to eat the whole things.
Oh yeah, I mean, it tastes just like sometimes just like candy you get at the store. So it's
Hmm.
so good. I think it's really cool what it is doing for people with autism. I've connected with a few
Hmm.
people out at the zoo already that are autistic that visit the zoo every day. The zoo does sensory bags now for people that come
Oh,
out
that's
free.
awesome.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we have you sign out for it. Gives you some headphones, gives you different things that they can have in the park, but it's really cool to see what the zoo does for people with autism. And you also, in today's society, more people, like you were mentioning, adults are coming out saying, hey, I have signs of autism or I've been diagnosed. There's an actress here recently. I can't remember her name, but I think that show, The Last of Us, or something that's a big hit. I
Hmm.
haven't watched it, but she just realized in her adulthood, her early 20s here, that she's autistic, and she found out from other actors on set that, hey, you should get checked out. So I think it's really cool that this is a product, that this can help people. And I think it's cool that that father found that for his son. I think that the more people that open their minds to it and realize that it's not a drug, it's nothing scary, and to try something that's not being pushed by Big Farm, it's very important
Right.
where it's like, okay, let's try it this way. And then you're hearing all these success stories. It's not a lie. It's not a hoax. So
Mm-mm.
it's like people, you gotta try it. And I think that the main thing that you've done really well over the years is that you've pushed it where you want to push the story about what's the best to take, the legal stuff, not the BS you get at Circle K, like the legitimate
Yes.
stuff. So I think it's just
Yes.
very important what you're doing with that. So I just had to compliment you again on that. But I would say, do you feel like that longer you've done this, what have you been seeing for cancer patients that has been a repetitive story? That like success stories that come in, is it are they what are they finding out more? Because you've told me in the past you've had cancer patients.
Oh, yeah. Tons. We still do every day. And I'm so grateful that they have heard about us and come in to get educated on it too, because a lot of them, you know, there's still stigma there.
Mhm.
People don't understand, they hear little whispers and things like that. But I have a lot of people that come in, they use the my CBD with CBG. Those two are great for keeping your healthy cells healthy
Mhm.
and helping to fight the cancer cells. So people will use those, but then I also have a gummy that has the Delta 9 with the CBD and the CBG. So it's they're getting pain relief. They're getting help with the nausea. They're overall they're actually really helping themselves and their bodies be able to fight the cancer cells. Now, I will never tell someone not to do modern medicine if they have cancer.
Mhm.
I personally will not. I will do everything other than get chemo myself, just because I understand what chemo really is and what it was created for and how it kills everything in your body. I just think some things, like I personally won't do that. And I've had melanoma, which was not a big deal. Mine was all contained in the mole. So I hate to say that I'm a cancer survivor because I've not been through what they've been through, real cancer survivors have. But a lot of our success really mostly focused on helping them deal with the side effects from the chemo and the radiation, depending on what their cancer is. I have a lot of women with breast cancer, and that have had full mastectomies and then like they're just in constant pain. And even some of our topical balm to help rub on some of those areas, it helps.
Mm.
All of that stuff helps. So we try to, when someone with cancer comes into our store, one, I like to know what kind it is, if they're comfortable talking about it. Oh man, we've tears. I'm telling you, a lot of us have just cried tears, especially after some of them have left. A lot of times, and this has happened too many times that I really wish I could change. They come in to see me too late.
Mhm.
They are who I don't want to get choked up, but they are literally down to the end. And it breaks my heart because I know that we could have helped them.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little choked up about
No,
that.
you're okay.
But
No, you're okay.
we've had a few like that. And after I've talked to him, I'm just like, oh, why couldn't you have came to see me like 5, 6 months ago when you know what I mean? And then we could have gotten you on a much more healthier, happier plan that maybe it wouldn't have been so devastating. I think a lot of times people they only listen to their doctors.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like their word is gold. And as much as I like doctors and I respect them, a lot of times they only do what they have been prescribed to do, which is to pass out pills and pass out drugs and to do that. And a lot of them don't think outside of the box. Like, hey, if you've got cancer, you need to cut the sugar. Like ASAP, get the sugar out of your body because it fuels cancer. Get on to a plant-based diet, period. Get rid of the red meat. I mean, there's so many other things that I think people can do to be healthier when they have cancer, along with taking cannabis products.
Yes.
And honestly, I see no reason for people not to take cannabis products daily, which and if you don't want to feel high, you don't have to because CBD will not make you feel high.
Mm.
But it's still going to help give your body the vitamins it needs and to keep your body at more of a homeostasis. So I really wish people would come see us before it gets too bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
you're first diagnosed, like, oh, get in here to see us. And 9 times out of 10, we can help them. The only time that I cannot truly help someone is when they are taking a medication that requires their body to be inflamed.
Mhm.
And the reason being is because CBD and THC, it helps fight the inflammation in your body. So it kind of counteracts those chemo drugs, which I don't know. Like they do seem to help for some types of cancer. I don't know that I would want to take them, but that's just me personally. Um, I do still, I do still respect doctors, and obviously, they specialize in treating cancer. I just wish that they would think to tell their patients, like, hey, maybe you should try this too. This might give you some relief. Slowly but surely, I mean, we've had a few doctors that have done that, but I wish more would. And
I
I
hope
wish
that's the
more
future.
patients learned.
Yeah, I hope that's the future though. Like I hope that is what our future's looking at is that's going to be the push of what people do because you're completely right. Like if when you're dying, you want to try anything to live, especially if you're
Yeah.
happy with life. And so it's like, I literally read that story about that guy that's paying, all that money to try to stay alive forever. There's people out there that are willing to do whatever it takes. And that's where sometimes I'm just like you, I get baffled in the confusion of why aren't you giving it a shot? What's it gonna hurt? Like it's okay to take a shot.
Yeah, and the sad part is it's just that you know we have had a lot of things just shoved down our throat here in this country. A lot of propaganda, a lot of bullshit. Sorry for cussing, but I can't help
You're
it. But
fine.
a lot of it. And some really do just have it in their head that it's illegal, it's bad for me, it's going to cause me to, you know, hurt someone or all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, I had one guy argue with me on Facebook about how it can cause psychosis, and I said typically that is extremely rare,
Mm.
extremely rare. And two, it almost would indicate that you had a previous mental health issue in order for that cannabis to do that to you. So now I have, I also have people that are schizophrenic and they can use THC and it has made a world of a difference for them. So it's all up to the individual too, how it affects their body. But a lot of people just still have a lot of fears. So and if their doctors aren't telling them it's okay, then they won't do it. Like they put their faith completely 100% in their doctors. And sometimes you got to think outside the box and you got to think about your own health.
You really do because in going back to the propaganda, Reefer Madness back in the 20s, 30s, and that movie that's absolutely ridiculous. It has people that are smoking weed and it looks like they're doing all these crimes and all this crazy stuff. It was always such a propaganda push, and that's where the government, religion, a lot of it was all about controlling. And to be honest
Race,
with
and it
you,
was racism. It
racism,
was completely it was all about racism
oh,
and
100%.
jailing, the black and brown people. That's really what it was about.
And people were
Um,
using this stuff in the 1800s. I mean, this
oh
it's
yeah.
been used for years, cannabis and hemp and everything. Like the Farmington, Kentucky was filled with hemp here in Louisville, that
Yep.
farm, and then you think about all the cannabis that is used, and you read like if you really read people's like journals and things of the history and past, and see these old labels on bottles and stuff, it's like we aren't just new to this thing. Like humans been using this, and I just think you're completely right. It's the propaganda, and I think it's what is super dangerous right now in the present day is the misinformation that's pushed so much, and that's why I always think so highly of you, especially in the cannabis
Thank you.
industry, because you always push the truth, the honesty, the legitimacy, and I see. I mean, you and I'm not going to mention any names, but you and I, when we used to do business together with the paper and everything, we talked about all the sketchy places,
Hmm.
and that's what's sad. There's always going to be some sketchy market in any kind of
Yep.
product, somebody trying to push something sketchy. But I just think that if people got legitimate information and actually, and like you said, gave it a shot, thought outside the box, that's where you can't complain about something if you haven't taken a shot on or been affected, in my opinion. My little
Right. I agree.
yeah,
I completely agree. And the sketchy stuff, I mean, it has gotten worse too. Let me just tell you. And there are a lot of products that other places are selling. Like I had a customer call me and be like, "Hey, do you carry this product?" And I'm like, "No, let me take a look. It could be something." So I get on there and I look at everything. I'm like, "Okay, I'll never carry this product. It has blah 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 blah, all this stuff in it." And they were like, "Oh, I didn't realize." I said, "Well, you're not going to because the label says one thing, but their certificate of analysis says something completely different." And she's like, "Oh, well, it works for my husband." I said, "Well, I hope you know what your husband's taking because a lot of this stuff I would not sell. It is not a natural cannabinoid. I I don't know how they make it, don't really care. It's not natural." And for someone, some of these places just push that next high, that next bigger high, that next big high thing. We call it cannabinoid du jour because it's what the next big, cannabinoid is. But a lot of them are, they are not, I don't want to say synthetic because they do start with an original cannabinoid, but they have been manufactured to be something that is just not something I will sell. I am very picky about that. I am
I
not
wonder
a
if any of
smoke
those are
shop. I am
placebo
not a
effects.
gas station.
Well, like I wonder if
It's,
any of those are placebo. That
no,
yeah,
mm-mm. No, I don't think they're placebo. I think that they cause some serious highs
yeah,
that can really they mess you up. I had one person tell me they were high literally for 2 days, and I'm like, that's not normal.
yeah,
That right there should tell you that that is not normal. I mean, and don't get me wrong, we've talked about this on my other podcast too. I got hemp and happiness, so I'll just plug that in there real quick, which is fun and I cuss a lot. But we talked about this the other day. There are some dangers to taking THC, right? It can cause that psychosis if you take too much of it. It can, if you take too much and you get too high. Do you know what you can take?
What?
You eat a peppercorn. Eat a peppercorn. It will bring it down. Like seriously, eat a
Wow.
peppercorn.
Wow.
And
Okay.
most people don't know that. So when they're all freaking out and they're going to the hospital because they're freaking out because they're having anxiety because they've taken too much, eat a peppercorn. Don't go to the hospital. They're just going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they're all like, well, we can't really do anything for you. You've already taken it. You just got to ride that wave. Well, eat a damn peppercorn. If it is too much for you, chew on a peppercorn. That's all you got to do. But most people don't know that.
No, no, that's
And when they,
fascinating.
yeah, and when they go to a gas station or to another, I'm just going to call it a shady business that sells products that you don't really know what they are, they're not going to educate you on that either.
Yeah.
They just sell you the product. You don't know what the hell you're buying. Why would you put something like that in your body if you don't know what it is?
It don't make sense.
I
And,
mean,
I don't like how people also like, you know, people don't do the research, like you're going out and you're going to spend, no matter what product you get, you're going to spend some good money on it. You're going to be investing in something that you're going to probably use for over a month, whatever, plus like do your research, ask around, talk to people because there is sources on it. And that's where sometimes, it's just people, oh, that bottle looks cool, or oh, hey, that guy was really nice. Like, no, like we like get some legitimate info, and I think too, it's another thing like something that I always get frustrated about. Like I go to Nashville a lot, where I went to college, and visit friends and stay with friends down there to visit on weekends, and they built a restaurant downtown in Nashville, and it's called like I could be wrong, but I think like Buds and Brews or something, but it's
mhm.
like a weed promoted restaurant. Well, here's the thing, it's not legal in Tennessee, and it's not a legal push thing of weed. But see, people are going there and they're like looking for a high or a party of crazy. But the thing about it is, if you buy something infused, they're not even infusing your food because they can't do. They're just giving you a jar of butter that has like THC in it, and it's like it's nasty. You don't want to scoop this butter and put it on, and it's like, oh, it's a garlic butter. Well, here's the thing. I I would not be able to enjoy that because it's like you're not infusing it. It's just rubbing butter on yours. It just don't make sense. So I really get frustrated about because they have billboards all over the city and everybody talks about it. And the thing about it is you're not getting high there. They even sell like the water vapes of hidden, but you're smoking like Delta and different things. And I know you can get highs on that, but you're not
Yeah.
getting what they're promoting as like it's some marijuana thing. And also when you get up front, they security check you. Like they have two guards who are like
Oh,
down and doing license, all this stuff. And it's like you think you're going into a legitimate dispensary like you would go in Detroit or Denver. No, this is just some weird restaurant that's giving you butter. Like
and
it threw me off. It threw me off when I
well, and
thought about it.
so Tennessee has been like the mecca for flower, for
Hmm.
THC flower, THCA flower. So that's probably what they're doing is that they are extracting the the THCA and THC and then literally infusing it in the butter, and then they want you to take that home and make whatever you want to with it, which is not a horrible idea, but if you're not truly a dispensary, I would wonder what the hell was in it.
And I don't want to
You
buy
know, yeah,
butter at a restaurant where I think I'm going to be getting that butter in my product. No, it's like I got to bring
yeah,
it home and
right.
cook it. Like it's just the whole thing was
That
weird.
is weird to
My
me.
friend Mark, he was in town down there, and he was like, "Let's roll." We rode over there, and I had heard about it, saw the billboards, and everything about it was just sketching me. I just did not
Uh-huh.
enjoy it, and I was like, I thought the grilled cheese and the different things they're going to bring over was going to have some kind of infusion, but I also was confused because I'm like, I'm in Tennessee though, like this is not a legal state. So then I get this can of butter, and I just remember shout out to Hannah. She's been a guest on the show. I just go to Hannah's house afterwards, just give her the butter. We like put it on chicken, like cook chicken with it, because it's like that did nothing at the restaurant. So it just really weird to me.
Did it well, but did it affect you? Did you feel it?
Oh, a little bit, not super strong, but I have a higher tolerance, but a little bit. But the thing about it was, it also, I felt like I was using it the proper way, where I wasn't just handed a jar of butter where like I take a knife and flick it. Same thing to get off a little bit subject, but I went to the Korean barbecue place across the street from me, K-Pot. Very good food, very nice people. But the thing that threw me off, they bring like 20 Waffle House like little butters in the little plastic squares, and that's how you butter your little oven. It's just like throws you 20. We're like flicking butter squares at the shrimp, and that threw me off because I'm like, you're charging us all $30+ for all you can eat. And we order all this meat, and you give us all these square butters that you would get at Waffle House. Like, it blew me away. Like super nice restaurant.
That's kind of, I mean, that seems not very cost effective.
Yes, I've had
I
way
mean, a
better
stick of
stories.
butter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is hilarious. I'll have to check that restaurant out. We tried the real quick the Dragon Daughter.
Dragon King's
Is
daughter.
that it?
Oh yeah,
Yo, my goodness, that was
very
amazing.
good, very good. They
Amazing.
have a
Yeah,
bento
that
box
was good.
that is amazing for lunch. Like it's fabulous,
Okay.
and they're actually shout out to them. They're one of the only restaurants with a public bidet. The New Albany one by the jail has a bidet.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, "What kind of place is this?" But super fancy, super nice. I don't go there for the bidet, but I just had to shout that out because you don't see that.
I gotta go for the bidet
Yeah.
now.
So it's like driver New Albany. Let me get this sushi roll, hit your bidet. I'm gonna roll back to Louisville. But no, it's
I gotta tell my husband. I gotta tell
yeah,
my husband about that. We're gonna
yeah.
have to go check it out.
Oh yeah. So it's
That's
right, but
funny.
what's funny too, if you sit on the patio there, you get your food and you got this nice restaurant, but like right literally a walk across the street's a jail. So it's like it's just such a weird location, but great food, great vibe. Went
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
random
Okay.
little place
We
right
gotta check
there
it
in
out.
New Albany. So yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, no, it's a great place. I have I get into these YouTube rabbit holes and just talking about butter. I feel like I've had this butter PTSD, but the I got into this rabbit hole where I've been watching these people that they claim they're super healthy and all that stuff, but like for example, there was a rower, and I think he went to like the University of Wisconsin, somewhere up north or Minnesota, and he's eating sticks of butter and then like going out and rowing for hours and working out. And he's like, oh, I love, he's trying to promote it, but I can't, I try to watch the videos, but I'm like, I can't believe they're doing it. Like, I can barely watch. I'm like, just eating big sticks of butter. It's just,
So so I feel like I should tell you something.
yeah.
As a little girl, like a baby, like
Uh-huh.
I freaking loved butter. I would get in, I would eat the sticks, and remember those big old tubs of country crock butter, spreadable butter? I would eat the bejeebies out of it. My mom, she would have to hide the butter. Like I loved butter so much when I was a little kid. I even now, I mean, I all of a sudden I'm gluten free, by the way. So having butter bread is like a treat.
Yeah.
But I still love butter to this day, and I don't use that fake margarine shit. It's bad for you. That's so close to plastic, it's not even funny and clogs your arteries. Real butter is actually good for you.
Yeah.
Now,
I
I
do
don't
like
think
butter balls.
as an
I do like butter balls.
adult,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and as an adult though, like I couldn't imagine working out or eating that much butter and then going to work out.
Oh, no.
Like I would be a little concerned that stuff might flow out the wrong way and it wouldn't be good
Oh, yeah.
lifting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It
So
just don't look appetizing.
that seems a little bizarre to me.
Yeah. I
But
was just blown away
yeah,
by
we're totally
that.
off topic.
No. We're all talking about butter. So, no, that happens on this show. We'll be talking about one thing and then the spin off to another. But, so back to your,
That's hilarious.
yeah, I was going to ask you too. So, with animals, I noticed,
Mhm.
past years, dogs, cats, there's been hemp products out, different things. What have you seen or heard in the industry, for stuff in the future of animal care with cannabis?
Well, I mean, we do have the CBD oil and then the CBD treats for animals. So thunderstorms, that's a big one. Fireworks. anything, any people coming over, making them nervous, scared, whatever. Our products definitely helps with that. But I know that one big thing that's coming out in the animal side is bedding, animal bedding for hemp. So that's more the fiber,
Mm.
but that's a big thing. They're also trying to get animal feed um, approved. So that like chickens and other animals eating the actual hemp seeds and hemp protein. But people are worried, of course, about THC levels. So it would have to be an extremely low THC plant, or if any. There are a couple breeds out there that are, well, supposedly. I'm not a big thing about splicing genetics and stuff, man. Just let stuff be natural and stop fucking with it.
Yeah.
That's how people get sick, is when they start doing that kind of weird shit. But there are some breeds of hemp, of cannabis, that are supposedly no THC at all. And it's just come out. I don't know if they've actually been planting it anywhere, but I think that would be really good to get the CBD back into our food supply. I think that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
It would definitely be helpful, because they should have never taken it out of our diet. And most people just do not realize the fact that we have an endocannabinoid system. Our bodies were built for the cannabinoids in that plant. And most people just don't realize that. That's why CBD oil is still, it's not as popular as it was. And the reason being is because you can't feel it. Like THC, you can feel, but CBD, you can't feel. Like it, you may not feel the arthritis as much, or you may notice you're sleeping better, or you don't have as much anxiety. But if you don't feel it, if people don't feel it right then and there, like they do THC, they don't think it's working. And that's just not true. So trying to break that stigma too. But that's the same thing with the animals. It back in, the 1800s, early 20s, animals were eating the weed that
Mm.
was growing naturally too. And that's how we would get a lot of those cannabinoids in our food source. Deer eating it, we'd eat deer, cows, whatever, chickens, all that. They all eat it because it is a really good source of protein, a really good source of omega 3s and 6s. I mean, it tons of minerals, tons of vitamins. It's a superfood. It really is. So I love seeing, like, I tried some hemp milk.
Mm.
Wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I had hoped for, but it's there. It's
Yeah.
a plant-based alternative. And I would recommend people use that instead of cow's milk. So it's definitely growing in the market, which I think is phenomenal. One thing that I would really, really, I hope that I get to see it before I die, is hemp biofuel.
Mm.
I really think that we could eliminate some of our dependency on oil and our dependence on mining for a freaking battery that does even more harm with coal. Um, and running things like that. The electric cars, I'm just not a big fan of. I never have been, because I just don't think it really helps our environment any more so than the darn gas cars do. So, and no one has been able to change my mind about that, because they can't.
Yeah.
So I would love to see a hemp biofuel car. And they had them like way back before all of this was outlawed. I think Ford had one that did it, or maybe they were working on it. I know they had a hemp car at one point in time, but I think that might have been the fiberglass. But like hemp concrete, dude, that stuff can withstand extreme amount of heat.
Oh yeah.
So like it does not catch fire. Like it is amazing. That I think is what we're going to end up needing with all the crazy shit that's going on in our environment, all these extra floods, all this, like using things like that, I think will make such a big difference in our environment if they would only start focusing on that kind of stuff, because hemp is such a versatile product. God, plastics, you can make hemp plastics that actually biodegrade. Could
Yeah.
you imagine getting rid of all that shit, and our poor oceans wouldn't be polluted anymore, and just totally changing all that stuff? I would love, love, love to see more of that, hemp plastics and things like that.
It
This
would
would be so
change
much
the game.
better.
It would change the game.
Oh,
And with the
totally.
and you bringing up the cannabinoids, like them animals eating and all that. A lot of people they passed away a few months ago. Rest in peace to our main wolves out at the zoo. But we're gonna get a couple more. But
Mhm.
they had a smell. It smelled like weed every time you're by their exhibit, and it's because their urine has those cannabinoids that are going in the grass, and it's all over. And so people
Mhm.
would go by, and you don't know how many times Metro Police was called, security was called, front bay. There's people down here smoking pot, by the flamingos. Well, it's all because people didn't realize, and even our tram driver. When we go by, we pretty much educate people on like this is what you're smelling, and it's also kind of interesting too. Did you see that recent news, the Time magazine cover with the wolf being cloned? Like pretty much they brought
Yeah.
the wolf.
The dire wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's weird about that is, um, it's 99% pretty much like I think even 99.5% of the gray wolf, but they went in and they redid how the DNA would work and adjust. And the thing that some scientists are saying that are like outside looking in are saying like, you got to be careful because you could get more of a violent wolf or see signs of aggression that maybe wasn't in there.
Or some zombies.
There's zombies, and you also
Some
don't.
like, you know?
Yeah, you don't
I
know also what the dire wolf did back in the day. Like we know
no.
about it, but we don't know what it was like in the wild. I mean, it was so long ago. And then what's crazy, ABC got an exclusive, and ABC News after they did their whole exclusive spiel at the end, the anchor was like, they're also now working on the woolly mammoth. And what's crazy about that is just getting on the zoo kick is that with elephants, we're getting rid of our elephants. The Louisville Zoo, they're going to a sanctuary. AZA and all the zoos are putting out guidelines that elephant exhibits have to be a certain size, which is important. But it's also, some zoos have adapted and are able to do bigger. Some just don't have the space like we don't. And what's interesting is like I go out, I'm there every day working. It's like I look at the elephants and I've always loved them, but I've also like I'm a thinker, and I've always thought about like an imaginary like what would that be like if that was a woolly mammoth, and like what would my like shocking reaction would be, and I really don't know to this day. Like if I heard and saw that there was a woolly mammoth, I mean we're reaching future stuff beyond belief. That's bigger than the
Well,
flying
and
cars. I mean that's crazy.
and why? Why are we doing that?
Exactly. I don't know the reason.
Why?
I don't know the reason. That's what's weird.
Right? So,
Even with the direwolf, it was like, and I'm glad it's back. And if anything can be successful and healthy and natural, normal, that's one thing. But why are we trying this when it could go wrong? You know.
exactly.
And what do you
Well,
do with a special needs animal? That you're
yeah.
not going to learn what you were expecting to learn or develop.
Well, and just like viruses and things that they're finding because the glaciers are melting. I mean, y'all need to leave that alone. What like we as human beings, it's probably going to be mold or fungus that kills us.
Yeah.
Like it's going to wipe out our entire existence. And most people do not even realize that. So when you bring in a new virus like COVID, how it freaking killed so many people, some of that stuff is man made.
Yeah.
Like some of it is man made where they're slicing this or doing that. And it's scary. Like it scares me. So when, the whole zombie stuff, I'm like, that something could happen. Y'all don't get it. It could really happen.
Did we just come
So,
up with a
and
$1 million idea? Zombie
I
woolly
mean,
mammoths, like the
I
movie.
mean, see, that's where my head went.
Yeah.
Like, I totally went there. Like, they're creating these weird things. How do we know? I, I just some of that stuff just it's amazing, like science in general, because I don't really truly have a science background, but at the same time, some of that shit, y'all just need to stop. Leave it alone.
Do
Like
you
it
feel like you
wasn't
learn
like
more
it
about science in this industry?
gosh, yes.
Mm.
Like yeah, it's funny. Like even my husband, he'll joke that he flunked out of chemistry when he was going to nursing school, and now he's pretty much a chemist.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So, and same thing for me. Like hell, I didn't know all of the things I know about the human body and the, how the cannabinoids interact with it or interfere with medications. I mean, I have learned so much since I started this journey is what I'm going to call it, because I mean, every day I'm learning something new. There's so many new advances when it comes to cannabis and how it helps and what it does. And like, we still can't make any claims that it truly does anything because of the FDA and how they feel about it. And I think the reason the FDA feels the way they feel about cannabis is because they are bought and paid for by big pharma.
yeah,
And we all know that. Like all of us know that. So when people say, well, I'm taking this medication because it was FDA approved, and I'm like, that don't mean shit. The
yeah.
FDA has approved so many medications that have killed people. Cannabis has never killed anyone.
True.
Never, 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 never. So that's the one thing that just shocks me, that people are willing to take a pill. It's going to cure this or do that. I mean, even the shots for weight loss, I'm just like, have you read what the side effects are?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
I
worth it.
walked,
It's
no,
not worth
it's not. I walked into my doctor's office, and that's the first thing he wanted to talk about is get me the shot. And I'm like, well, today's the last day I will ever see you
it.
because you didn't check my blood. I'm not pre-diabetic. I'm not even close to it. I've always been a bigger girl. I'm always going to be a bigger girl. Like, but I'm not like, I do not need that shot.
Yeah.
And to me, it was for people with diabetes or pre-diabetic. Those are probably the people more so that need that shot, not me.
And
I'm
I think
like,
the
you didn't
long-term
even,
side effects are scary too. Like,
oh,
I mean,
this,
I've heard
I mean,
people losing their hearing and random
that
things, and that's just very.
thyroid cancer, gastroparesis. No, thank you. I
Yeah,
have a friend who has gastroparesis, and God love her, she can't hardly eat anything and has to get all her nutrients through a damn feeding tube. And I'm like, no, no, I don't want those kind of complications. I'd rather be fat.
mm,
At least I'm a healthy fat. I go to the gym almost every day. I'm a
yeah.
healthy, so it just, there's some things that I'm just like, no way. But yeah, I don't see him anymore. And then the new doctor is trying to put me on a damn statin because, oh no, my cholesterol was up one day. How many times are you going to check it before you put me on a statin medication? Come on. That fluctuates just like your blood pressure does.
Mm.
But their mind is to get you on a drug and get you on a medication because that's 9 times out of 10, they get a little kickback from it.
And
And
what's
then
funny
that's
is
all
yeah, well, what's funny with these
FDA.
doctors too, they won't, they also, when you go in anymore, and I've noticed this the past years, no matter what your age is, just with my experience and hearing others, you might recommend getting some checked out, or hey, could you look into this? Hey, it's just something that I've been thinking about or concerned with. It's like pulling teeth, but then they want you to do what they want to do, and it's just that's where it gets kind of frustrating. It's like, no, I came for
Yes.
this, now you're putting me on this, which is going to cause me to have more of this, and that's where, yeah, I'm a big advocate on just the fear mongering and the misinformation. Just got to stop. It's so dangerous across the whole nation, the world, and it just people really just got to do their research and just do some reading, like and quit listening just to somebody who just has a certificate, because you don't know and that's the other thing that's crazy. I
And
mean,
don't always listen to people on freaking social media either.
no,
You know what
no,
I mean? But you gotta do your research.
but you don't
You
know
know?
these doctors' personal lives. You don't like that's the
Mm-mm.
funniest thing. When we think about professions and jobs, and like we're as humans, we assume so quickly that just because this person has this job, they're an amazing person. They're going to be thinking about me. Oh, this is what they're meant for. I get that they all take a oath and all that, but no, not everybody follows oath. Humans are humans, and greed is the number one deal, and so that's where people just have to wake up and realize, like, hey, is this guy getting a kickback from me taking this, or will this actually help me and be beneficial? And that's where I just feel like too. That's another thing where I get shocked talking to friends, especially my age, that don't even have a physician or don't even have somebody that they really trust and like talk to.
Hmm.
And I think that's where it even starts more that it's like people wait, like you were saying earlier about cancer patients that come in too late. People wait till it's too late. People wait to find out news when they could have found that out sooner because they don't want to take care of themselves until it gets bad. And that's a
Yeah.
very very alarming thing. And that's where
And
this shot is very scary that the doctors are pushing because people have been frustrated for 15, 20 years trying to lose weight or do this and they see a
it's our
shortcut.
food. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all our food
Yeah.
because not most of it is not what our bodies need, and it is junk. You are literally so my husband and I started seeing a functional medicine doctor. I freaking love this man. Granted, we have to pay for it because he does not take insurance because has a lot of tests done that we couldn't get our doctors to do. There's no freaking way. He did. So for me, I'll just talk about myself, not necessarily my husband, but for me, he found out that I am extremely gluten sensitive. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had tons of these weird symptoms. I was not losing weight after working out 2 hours a day, literally. He found out that I do have the fat gene, literally. I mean, he didn't call it the fat gene, he called it something else, but whatever, it is the fat gene. My red blood count is lower, and he said, do you get winded a lot when you are working out? Do you get exhausted? And he goes, maybe your endurance level isn't what it could be if you're at the gym that often. I'm like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I should be able to lift more, but I feel like weak. And he said that's because of my red blood cell count. Well, then even though my cholesterol's a little high, my doctor didn't realize is that what he looked at was like the particles of the cholesterol in my system. He said, yours are extremely low. So because of that, I don't give a shit what your cholesterol number is. He said, that number that I'm looking at, those are the actual particles in your blood that would cause the plaque buildup. He goes, yours is extremely low. So you're not set to be having a heart attack. There's no reason for you to be on a statin medication. He said, we can get your that number, that big cholesterol number, we can get that down with food and diet and change it that way. So we're working on that. Like I got off gluten. Oh my gosh, what a difference. What a freaking difference in my body and inflammation. And now the weight's coming off a hell of a lot easier. I needed special, like he even did like a stool sample and did like all the biomes and what gut bacteria I have and what I don't have and what I need more of. He checked all of my vitamin levels that I needed more vitamin D because I was still in the green, but not as good as I could be. Same thing with some other vitamins and stuff. But like it's all supplements. Like he's got me on a whole bunch. I have never taken this many pills in my life, but they're all things that are helpful for my body.
Yeah.
And it's not a drug, it's plant-based science. And to me, it makes perfect sense. So I mean, both my husband and I, we have changed so much. And even the doctor's like, I appreciate y'all, like all head in, he said, but it is a sprint and not, or a marathon, not a sprint, whatever. But where I'm like, nope, that's it. I'm done. I'll never eat gluten again. But and he even said it, he said, but once we get your gut healed, because leaky gut, it's a real thing. And some of the foods we eat just make it worse. He said, but once we get that healed, that I should be able to eat gluten again. He said, but for now, it is just causing my body is reacting and constantly fighting the inflammation that the gluten was causing me, which was in return keeping me from losing weight, even though I'm spinning my wheels at the gym and working out all the time. And me thinking I'm eating healthier when reality I probably wasn't. I was not eating enough vegetables. I was not eating enough fruit. So you got to take all of that into consideration. I mean, and I'll be 50. I'll be 50 in September, and I want to freaking live longer than my parents did. My dad was only 56, my mom was only 63, and I had an older brother that was only 56. And All three of them, none of them took care of themselves. And it's funny too, thinking back about some of my mom's issues that she had, because she was always at the doctor's. God love her. And I remember one of her specific symptoms. She was always gaseous, and she'd be so upset that I was telling anybody this. I'm sorry, Mom. But she was always farting, and we would just laugh and make fun of her, right? Well, it started to get to where I was doing that. And I was like, what the hell? Like, my stomach's killing me. I'm always gassy. Like, I don't know what's going on. And it is from the freaking gluten. Since I've eliminated that, I have not had that issue. And I was kind of getting worried, thinking it might be something serious. And now in my head, I'm like, my poor mom probably had the same thing going on, and they didn't test her for that.
Yeah, they
Do you know
didn't
what I
know
mean?
back then.
No,
They
they
didn't do
didn't
any
know.
tests back then on stuff.
Yeah, and it just and now knowing that we laugh so much about it, but now I'm like, God, she was probably really more inflamed and in pain than she even realized, and it was from what she was eating. And I'm just trying to be a better example for our daughter, and hopefully I'll get to be around long enough to see grandbabies if they ever have any.
Well, hell yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
the goal, and
and I
that's
want to be
the mindset.
healthy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the mindset. Like my grandmother who passed away last year at 92, you know, those last few years, I bought that the balm from you and I put it on her
Mhm.
like her hips and knees, wherever.
I
It was a game
remember. I'm
changer.
sorry you lost her. My
Yeah, I appreciate
goodness.
it. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, she fought it out. Basically, it was kind of freaky. It was like March. Everything was fine. Then got COVID, fell on the floor, and then next thing you know, like by May, she's like a vegetable and can't talk. So complete 2 month difference. Also, really, my other
Oh,
grandparents, they slowly died. They were in the nurse home, but we were there through it all. Wasn't like a horrible suffering process. Not saying my grandma suffered, but it was more of it was crazy to see how drastic and quick life can change, and how she's 92. You expect stuff not to go perfect, but just the decline was so rapid. So it just really
yeah.
made me think about life, and like you got to live life to the fullest, because it's like you never know when it can get to
You
that.
never know.
And
You never know.
yeah, and how quick things can happen. And so
Yep.
I just really, that's where I think about a lot of stuff. That's where like I'm really glad that I've been informed on like the things that you've taught and other things people have taught, because if anything it does happen in the regards of cancer for me or anything that down the road, I'm gonna be one of those people that are more on the alternative side of I want to try this, I want to do this. Now I'm also going to do my research and I'm willing to give any shot, but that's where it just, I feel like, just back again, just to be repetitive with it, but it's just people really have to open their mind and
They
realize,
do.
and they got to get away from that old setting. And it goes back to like what your mom went through. People back then just didn't have the research, didn't have the details. There was so much control and conspiracy over just the medical industry alone. It was just shocking. So I wanted to ask you too. It's like with the future of Kentucky, like what do you see the future of cannabis in this state? Good,
So,
bad?
medical past. We might have to have another conversation just
Oh, for
about this
sure.
on another podcast.
Yeah.
Medical past, it was a fucking joke. Excuse my language, but such a joke how it was a lottery system.
Mm.
A lot of outside companies and corporations came in, created a whole bunch of new businesses in Kentucky, literally used the same address, stacked the lottery system with their applications, and then they ended up winning. So for all of the hemp people that were in the business, we got totally screwed, and slapped in the face, really, about how all this went down. The two, the it literally they just came to light and actually admitted that they app stacked for the new one that's opening here in Louisville. So I was kind of like dumbfounded, and I'm like, I cannot believe you just admitted that on the air that you guys pretty much cheated to get your license, right?
Yeah.
Because the rule was it you couldn't be vertically integrated, which means you couldn't have a grow, you couldn't have a process, you couldn't have a dispensary. Well, Dark Horse Cannabis, they won all of those because they created separate little entities, even though it was all the same owners. And We even pulled, like, one of the reporters even pulled that information. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I really think an audit needs to happen. I'm not going to lie about that. I think, and I don't even know that I like hands off now because of all the regs that they're doing, but I think it's bullshit how it went down. Right now, if the hemp people would have won any of these, we would already have dispensaries. We would have already had grows. We would have already had things to sell. We could have turned everything that we already had, the infrastructure that we already had in place, especially the farmers, the hemp farmers. Oh my God, they would have already been, there'd already be product now in the stores.
Yeah.
But because all these outsiders won these lotteries, a lot of them are selling them. They're on the market to be sold like $1, $2, $3 million, which is a joke. And then two, they don't have any infrastructure here. So now they got to come find places because the addresses that they listed was freaking bogus. So they got to get their infrastructure together. Like you're talking maybe at the end of 2025, if we're lucky. Like I don't know of anyone growing just yet. The processors, none of them were in town. People were, locals truly. It's kind of a mess. And I hate it because it was money driven. They got like $27 million for all these applications from a lot of people that were out of this state, which we all kind of feared that would happen. Um, but I didn't realize it was going to happen to this extreme. And now, with all the hemp products, there's a lot of legislators that want to completely eliminate them. We just literally fought this big battle over hemp beverages, Delta 9, THC beverages. They're all the rage, right? Completely, like everybody is turning to those. Well, they're being sold everywhere.
Yeah.
They're being sold at restaurants. They're being sold at gas stations. They're being sold at, liquor barns, at Cox's, Evergreens. They're being sold everywhere. I don't have such a problem with that. But what they did, my senator in particular, she ended up filing a shell bill, and we had been down there over a House bill that was trying to put all these restrictions on the cannabis beverages. Well, she had filed a shell bill, and that other House bill wasn't moving. So we are like, oh, thank God, we don't have to focus on it so hard. It's not going anywhere. Well, her shell bill got a reading, and then it was the second one, and we're like, what the hell? And come to find out, I had talked to her on Tuesday, and she said, well, there's some senators that are wanting to just ban these products. And I'm like, I really hope they don't do that because these products are very beneficial for people that can't smoke, or because it's a little quicker acting, going through the rigmarole with her. And it was just funny how she said some senators, and I'll never forget this, lied right to my face pretty much. That night when I got home from Frankfurt, I found out what her bill really entailed, and she was trying to completely ban them. It was her bill. She
Yeah.
was the senator. Oh, I get so pissed off about it. I mean, and I don't want to take up a whole
Hypocrisy.
bunch
It's
more of your time.
hypocrisy. No, no, you're good.
Oh,
It's hypocrisy.
100%. And then, so we go back to Frankfurt. We're having all these meetings. I go back into her office with two other people, and I'm like, why didn't you just tell me this? I was talking to you yesterday. Why didn't you just tell me this was your bill? And I'm like, I'm your constituent. Why would you not tell me this? Like, pretty much telling her she fucking lied to me without coming right out and saying you lied to me. So then it just created a lot of turmoil, and all of the hemp people, like, we tried to rally, but by then it was too fucking late. They had a committee hearing. We are down there. She said that no one was there back in September to give testimony when all this first came up. Bullshit. I was fucking there. KET freaking records that stuff. I was there.
Yeah.
I gave you the testimony. I even have emails of what I sent to everybody on those committee meetings and how this is not good for the actual hemp industry. Well, she came back, she rewrote it to where it wasn't an all out ban, but they limit the drinks at 5 milligrams. Now, if you don't have a liquor license, you're fucked. You won't be able to sell these products. You
Yeah.
also have to have a hemp beverage license, limited to 5 milligrams. The 3-tier distribution system for alcohol, that's what they put in there. They tried to say there was nothing in place. And I'm like, what was House Bill 544 then that I worked my ass off? There are restrictions in place. It is 21 and up. They are supposed to be registered with the cabinet if they're selling things. Then they're like, well, there's no enforcement, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, give the cabinet some fucking money so they can hire people to get them.
Yeah.
I said, because if you're not, then who's going to enforce it? Because the ABC doesn't have the time to enforce it either.
No.
So it was a freaking, we got totally bamboozled. And the skullduggery stuff that goes on in Frankfurt is just shocking. And talking to my rep about it, he said, well, we have to stop the recreational loophole. This is backdoor recreation and it's not Diet Coke and it shouldn't be everywhere. And I was like, thank God it's not Diet Coke because Diet Coke fucking kills everybody, dude.
Yeah.
This stuff actually helps people. But now, for all my alcoholics that don't want to go to a liquor store, guess where they're going to have to freaking go to get their cannabis drinks that they like to enjoy? Because there's not that many alcohol license available, especially in this area.
Yeah.
So I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I don't know how I'll be able to sell these products. I mean, I'll be able to sell them over at my Indiana store. So you want some, I'll ship them to you. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But even then, there's supposedly if people get caught with them a higher milligram, they could be fined. Like you yourself, the consumer. I'm like, that is such bullshit. The sad part is
because a
you may have
consumer wouldn't
hurt
know
the
that. A consumer wouldn't know that. Yeah.
no, and you may hurt the retailers. You've hurt the hemp retailers and other retailers like me. You literally just gave those beverages to the alcohol industry. Even though the hemp industry is what has fought so hard, you literally just handed it over to alcohol. And it makes sense. We were trying to get the governor to veto it, but you've seen the tariffs on bourbon.
Yeah.
They're losing money. Gen Z does not like alcohol. The Gen Z generation, they like cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
They like to drink cannabis. They like to use cannabis.
Yes.
It's much more healthier. They know it. They know that alcohol is a poison for your body. So
it's gone down. I mean, booze intake has definitely gone down.
Oh yeah.
More cannabis and two, it's like there's so many backwards things with the way Kentucky views things. Like they'll do this and they'll amplify that, but then they change on that, and it's just I don't know. It's just a lot of it's ridiculous too.
Whoever.
It's also ruining the consumer and the retailer's relationship because think about it. If you had, as a consumer, got that product from a store and then you got in any kind of trouble, fine, anything, you're going to blame the retailer over the product. You're
Right.
going to be like, well, what the fuck? Why are they selling me that? And at the end of the day, that's where there's got to be transparency for both parties. Like there's got to be also transparency for me as a store to sell it, transparency for me as a consumer to buy it, but also I don't give a fuck if the enforcer thinks that he knows it all. There's got to be transparency that if there is someone that is placed as an enforcer, they need to have the proper knowledge, and I need to be able to like as a retailer consumer, not trying to fight them or argue with them, but okay, tell me what you know. Tell me all the rules, all the gallon. Like, so what is this law, or what is? So can I drink this? Can I not? And if they're sitting there and they're like, well, I don't know, or it's a fine line. When it gets to that point, the enforcer don't know, and I think that's again where everyone's got to be educated and informed on the right level.
Well, and
it's big effect.
And even the legislators. I mean, talk about uninformed. Oh my gosh. And then just making things up or, oh no, this one guy said, well, and she had brought it up in the hearing that, there's 100 milligrams in one can. And I was like, lady, that can has a reclosable lid. It is 10 servings. It's like bourbon. Do you drink that whole fifth of bourbon or whatever it is, the whole jar? No, you sip on it. You get a little, you don't drink the whole damn thing. Same thing with that. But it was
and there's also lines on the can. There's lines on the can that show you like a different level. Like in Nashville, or excuse me, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, it's a liquor store and it's called Pour View. and they have a very, very tight distribution window where they have to order beer from some other rep, even though that rep is somewhere far and doesn't care about the Hendersonville market. Well, they got into the THC CBD drink market. Well, they end up setting up a whole rack for it. It was taken off, and every time I go to Hendersonville, I go about 4 times a year to visit my two friends, Christine and Jim. I'll go over there and I'll grab a bunch of these THC drinks that when you're smoking and relaxing, they do wonders. And I'll be honest, I drink a whole can, I do the whole 100, and
Oh yeah.
it's my tolerance, but I feel good. But at the end of the day, I went down most recently here back last fall. They're now moved behind the cashier stand, and there's already been certain cans removed. And what's funny, the dude that pushed it and the dude that got into the store and has been the big advocate of like selling, he's one of the managers there. When he's not there, there is not one person that has knowledge on it. And this lady was ringing me out. She's probably about 72 years old, probably just working there part time for extra money. And I ring out and she goes, "Oh, I've never seen this can before. What is this?" And she's like, "Oh, there's THC drinks." She's like, "I didn't even know they make these." And when your cashier is telling me that, nothing against Porvu, shout out to Porvu, love the store, but here's the problem. That shows that
Uh-huh.
there's only one person in that whole store educated on the law, on the how many I can get, the regulation, does she ID me, anything. And that's a problem across the board. And that's where I
Yep.
think that there's got to be a way of more educational,
Well,
informational
and the
classes.
and the worst, oh, for sure. And the worst thing about it is we have to have all of our products behind the counter. So we do not have just an open refrigerator. Like
Hmm.
anybody can just open up and grab it. Every freaking liquor store just has it sitting in there so anybody can go in and grab it. They say only 21 and up, but in a gas station, no, that's not a 21 and up store. And for them to be selling that stuff, and a lot of these gas station owners, they do not ID. They do not for vapes, not for those drinks, not for anything. So I get what our legislators were trying to do to an extent, but they did not do it correctly. And for them to make it so fucking expensive for people like me to get a license to keep selling products that I've been selling since before they were popular
Yeah,
is bullshit.
yeah.
It is complete bullshit. And they completely screwed me. And the worst thing is, I think this is only the beginning. I think next session it's going to be way worse, and I am terrified as to what is going to happen to my entire industry. And I'm the new president for the Kentucky Hemp Association, so I'm pretty much in the know as to what's going on and what's not going on. And Eric, I'm terrified. I am terrified that I will not even have a business next year after these legislators do whatever it is that they fucking think they should be doing.
Well, I hope you do, and I have to congratulate you on being the president, and
Thank you.
I also want to congratulate you on all the success. You know, like I said, this past hour, and I think we went. I'm looking at the time now.
Yeah, we did.
It was great. There's no set time. We were flowing, and I know you got a big event tonight. It's just I
I
really
do.
appreciate you always coming on. You providing the knowledge. I really wanted to touch on Kentucky and where your store is at, and we got to dive into some other stuff. So that was always fun. I want you to be able to tell people how they can reach out, how they can visit the stores, and also just advice before you sign off on where you think people can get some good knowledge.
Well, definitely come to my store. You can be knowledgeable, but also projectcbd.org. That is a great resource for information, for studies. They are a less propaganda. Like if you go Google something, 9 times out of 10, what you're going to read is somebody's opinion and somebody's blog. And some of these people just write nonsense, and some of it is good and some of it's not. So it's hard really to know what the difference is. I have a blog page. It's on my website, 502hemp.com. We do a lot of educational type blogs on there. So definitely reach out. Hemp and Happiness. You can listen to me bitch and we try to be happy too and talk about good things in it, but I might bitch a lot on there as well, because of just everything that's been going on lately. But my store 502 Hemp is at 201 Mosier Road here in Louisville on the East End, and I'm on the corner of Shelbyville and Mosier. And then my other store, 812 Hemp, is over in Clarksville. It is off Lewis and Clark Parkway on the Blackston Mill side. So in that Kroger shopping center, we're right next door to one of the barbershops that's been there for 20 some years. But my people are extremely knowledgeable, and we're actually here to help you find the best product for your needs, not just sell you something or sell you a shit product that you really shouldn't be taking. So yes, I'm happy to help anyone that has any questions. And if you are on our website, the 502up.com, the little chat box, that actually comes to me. So I have not relinquished that for anyone else to work, because I like to answer my customers' questions as much as I can. Sometimes it might take me a minute if I'm busy, but I try to answer my customers' questions as much as I possibly can too. Yeah. So
Likewise.
thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I Sorry we got on a tangent. I'm sorry I said the F word a lot,
Oh,
but
you're
I
fine. You're fine.
can't
People
help
cuss
it.
all the time. I cuss, and
Okay,
like
good.
I said, I always when I publish my episodes, I click my little explicit box just so
Okay, good.
I'm like thinking back, did I say fuck? But no, it's all good. But no,
I did.
you're terrific. Like I said, this is your third time.
Thank
It's
you.
always amazing. I'll have you on again. Towards the I'm gonna do a break like I do at every end of season, so I'll probably come back winter, beginning of next year for season.
Okay.
Um, I
You
just
might need me. I might need you on then, so I can, if some ball, skullduggery stuff's going on,
Oh
I
yeah.
might need you.
Hey,
So yeah.
call me up. We can always do special
Okay.
episodes. I can upload anytime, so I'm always down. Definitely want to come visit the store again soon. And if you're at the zoo,
Oh,
come
please.
holler at me. And
I will. I will. I love it.
I'm glad you
I
remember.
can't wait to take some walks. Heck yeah. I
Oh yeah,
love the zoo. So,
we got the cassowary out now. We got the baby tiger, baby giraffe,
ooh,
a lot
yeah.
of cool stuff. But yeah, but no, shout out to you. Thank you again for everything you're doing for people that are fighting cancer, autism, everything with your
Absolutely.
cannabis products. And again, I just appreciate you taking the time. I know how busy you
My
are.
pleasure.
You're always a great time. So
My pleasure.
vibingwithsleazy.com. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So vibingwithsleazy.com is the website, Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast, Facebook, Instagram. Reach out, show love. I'll be posting this episode on Wednesday, April 9th. I'll have it out probably around 9 or 10 a.m. so everybody can check it out. And then definitely visit 502 Hemp or 812 Hemp or the website. So thank you, Dee Dee. I hope your event goes great tonight. And we are out.
Thank
Peace.
you. Thank you. Thank you.